Now we'll see if they can beat those expectations or not. So first things first, Vitality are not having the kind of best. I don't think they're going to be at their highest confidence coming into these opening matches, and I don't think it's guaranteed they get through challengers in the first place. Complexity are a team that are probably just outside of most people's picks to get through of the top 8, and are underdogs in this matchup, of course, but have a chance to show that they could play close to a team like Vitality, who are not on their best form.
So let's see it, folks. Map 1 of the Antwerp Major, and it's underway. We've already got this slow creeping crawl from Vitality, maybe expectant of something out of Complexity's apartments setup. Oh, excuse me, inversed. Dupree waits in the apps. First contact, no kills. They get ever closer. And off that flashbang, they decide to pop. Dupree suddenly, quick hit. Magisk is the one to come in with the kill, and a second. Then Fang swings out from pick, gets the better of him, grabs the USP, and they're just cautious for a moment, thinking of a quick flank maybe, but it's nothing but this rotation here. Vitality, they went for that 3-player B setup, and now the retake's on. Fang, deep corner, nade is perfect. That's him softened up, and then the two others of Junior and JT deep in pit. They wait. Smoke fades. Double Vitality wrap onto the short side. They still have the utility to get the players out of here. And sure enough, Apex hits a cracker of a headshot from deep on Arch. Junior blinded, can't help.
They just lack that little 5% experience to know how to win round number 15 and 16. But I guess the backbone of the Counter-Strike played was much better than I had seen. And this is, I guess, my fantasy for Complexity is just based on these results and how they fared against these teams.
Complexity have developed as a roster. JT, in particular, has developed as an in-game leader. I'd say a year ago, 2 years ago, when he was the IGL for Cloud9 and the South African-led ATK roster, it was very much so calls out of spawn, very basic stuff. And nowadays, they can play with tempo. They can actually change up their pace a little bit. They have a more developed default. It's just that sometimes their players aren't always ready for all of the situations that come to them in those defaults. That's where they need the experience.
And I don't know if you agree with me, Maui, but I just don't know sometimes if the style that JT wants to play and the style that kind of made his value before in his career is the most fitted style for players like Grim and Junior and Floppy, who require, I think, a bit more space, a bit more freedom, and I guess autonomy to do some moves, whereas JT was kind of structural and organized and call-based. I don't know if there's a clash here, if there's a mismatch.
I could see that. I could see that there is a little bit of a back and forth between what some of the players want. Like, I think Floppy, for example, is always a guy that's good to dominate a default, but I actually don't know if I agree with Junior always being that guy. I don't know if he always knows what initiative to take in the high-level games, high-pressure ones, and so I think JT's simplification of a T side does help them out.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, in Furia, he couldn't really get going, and I think a lot was to blame there, right? Also the environment and kind of the language he had to speak. So maybe it'll take some time for him to adjust, but as we wrap up this kind of bow around the Complexity story, is it about breaking that natural ceiling now, having those other people step up alongside Floppy to make a run?
There's a couple things that I need Complexity to do. I need one more person to step up, and I think probably Fang would be my pick to do that. It seems like he has incredible work ethic. He's a guy that's grinding the demos, constantly looking for new ways that he can find initiative in games, but I also need them to change their CT sides. I need them to stop acting in the first 30 seconds of every round, let things come to them a little bit more, play a little bit more reactive, because if you make a plan every round, it makes things a lot easier for your players, but it also makes things a lot more obvious for your opponents.
Hey, speaking about making a plan, the Vitality plan was a very hotly contested one coming into this year. And when it comes to the names you have on that roster, you can hear, by the way,
Love it.
players are next door, which is giving us a lot more energy going into this. But let's talk about Vitality. This is a roster, when you look at it on paper, that has to go deep in a major, that has to go deep in the big tournaments that they play. But there have been question marks. Where do we land right now, Maniac?
Wow, the Vitality project, all being beautiful at the ideology behind it, has been struggling massively. And I think we have to just put some historical context as well. Vitality had a French team that belonged at the top. They were top 3, top 4 for a while in HLTV. And they said, you know what, we're going to make one of the biggest, deepest change we can, because what we want to do is lift trophies. And we have to admit, they haven't been anywhere near lifting trophies so far. It hasn't been the case. Zywas had one of the slowest start of the year in his career. The bright light is obviously Dupree, but I don't know. It feels like when you have a roster with that quality, when you have these players, all it would need is a click. It would just need a click, literal, and that could happen.
Is Mizuta consistency the click?
That's a lack of click there.
I'm not sure.
Well, then it
Yeah.
would be a click if it clicks, right?
If Masuda can find some form, that could actually spur them on to make a deep run at this tournament. I think the main talking point for Vitality is, generally speaking, the language barrier. It's been painfully obvious that a lot of these players were not comfortable switching to English immediately when this roster formed. ZywOo seems like he's been struggling with it, and I think that's the exact reason why he's had so much difficulty as a teammate. He doesn't know where things are happening on the map at all times. I've seen ZywOo caught off guard more this year than any other year, even when he was a rookie.
And I think that there might be something to say as well between the clashes of philosophy of Apex, who for the longest time had full control of what was happening in Vitality with, obviously, Extas together. They had a stronghold of what was happening, a lot of micromanagement we heard from Apex in interviews when he mentioned it. Now you bring in Magisk, you bring in Dupree, there are voices, Zonic, of course, a very loud voice in the game, and you have to compromise how you want to approach a game. What kind of Counter-Strike do you want to play? And we could see that. It took a while for them to find it. I don't even think they're there quite yet.
They're there quite yet, and I know some analysts in the CSGO scene hate like the kind of time. Give them time, give them time, give them time. I do think like in certain situations like this one, they are allowed a little bit of adjustment, right? So now we've had a couple of months, and this is kind of what you're working towards. Yes, you could say no, we'll work towards that second major later in the year, but as a competitor, that's not what you want to do.
What you need to give Vitality more than a better coach, a better player, is accelerated English courses. That's actually my answer. There's nothing else that I would want for this team, because clearly it's just not working for them so far in terms of the language.
And the map veto only have a winning record on Dust 2 and Vertigo, so that's an issue. What do we see?
I'm happy for Vitality. I'm getting away with Inferno. I think it's one of the few maps where we have certainties and securities as what they're about to bring to the table. I think their CT side is extremely strong. It's one of the few maps where you look at the team and you understand the project. You understand the ideology. Like, okay, you have the Danish duo together, you have ZywOo having space, Apex is moving. That makes sense. Here, it comes together, it comes to fruition. So for a Vitality fan, Inferno is a good pick.
Yeah, their CT sides have been dominant since the beginning of Blast.
Yes.
Since they first unveiled this roster, you could see the chemistry on both sides of the map where they separate Apex and Masuda towards B, the Danish duo towards A, ZywOo, the one guy that's in between, having to juggle it all. Sometimes he has some trouble with it, but he's always been a little bit shaky on Inferno, if we're being honest.
Well, then if we go back to kind of what you said about complexity and perhaps their T sides, how much of a assignment do they have cut out for them when it comes to fighting that CT side?
This is rough. A lot of it's going to come down to Fang. A lot of it's going to come down to that banana control. I think that's probably the biggest weak point for Vitality, and so you got to see some aggression on that part of the map from JT's calling. You can't just go for the Halls pops, because you're going to be running into Magisk and Dupree in a crossfire. You're not getting through that. You're going to get shredded.
And I don't even want to see Vitality giving too much space and respect to complexity. At this point, it's just about the mentality and the perspective they have into this game. I want to see ZywOo picking down mid, picking down second mid. I want to see him farming confidence, being assertive. That's something that we have been missing from the best, and second best player in the world 3 years in the running. He's been a little bit too passive at the beginning of 2022, as if he let the game come to him. Go and get the game. Take the game by the horn like Simple would do. And that's a team they can do it against.
Oh, I love the way you finished off that sentence, because we are so close to getting into that game. I think it's what we want to see out of every single team, out of complexity as well. But for Vitality, definitely so, Maui. For both teams, winning their first game here would be absolutely huge when we look at the rest of the major.
Definitely, and it's doable for complexity. That's the thing. They probably saw that this sort of map was coming out in the veto. Maybe they could have assumed one or two others, but this was one that Vitality definitely wanted to play, and I think Complexity have the game plan necessary in order to do it. It's a JT, TC combo special. They're going to come out with some strats here. They're going to come out with some fast plays, so Vitality better be ready for it.
It's possible. Vitality better be ready. We are ready. It is time for our very first match of the PGL Major in Antwerp. Let's head over to our wonderful casters.
Yo, it's us, and here we are, one step closer to Vitality versus Complexity, the hopes of North America, not only on Liquid, but Cole as well. And I think Maui hit it on its head, man. There's no way that Complexity are coming into this map, and this map specifically, without a game plan for Vitality. I think we've seen instances of, despite Vitality's comfortable CT side, alluded to by Maniac, there are instances where that B site can get hit too hard for them to handle. I've seen Apex counter-stratted a time or two, but alas, they are the favorites, and Complexity are the question.
Yeah, and at least for Complexity, like was mentioned, they could expect Inferno to be in the veto, so that might be a point where they could try to target that. There are interesting storylines for both of these teams coming into the major, and they could kind of sour, you know, your outlook on the team. But because we're just starting the major now, and apart from that, I'm sure snuck some practice in at the RMR, but they have mentioned that it's just not feeling too great to have come in so late. So that's something they'll also have to kind of learn on the fly.
Yeah, well, they got 4 days to figure it out.
Yeah.
Crunch time. Junior gonna make a ruckus inside of the apartments. Magisk easily turns around for that one and cuts Grim off of the doorway as well. Still feels like there's somebody up there. He's not wrong. JT hot on the heels of Junior. Also, just victim of the MP9. 1, 2, 3, easy does it.
I think Vitality are fine.
You think they're good? Yeah.
They're doing pretty good.
Which is nice to see because obviously, I think this was something where I feel like at the RMR, it was almost like there was a question mark still surrounding them. But if you look at their losses, it's versus Navi and FaZe, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, but
So,
they before that even, they had like lost like 8 out of their 10
Yeah.
big series.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there are still real questions about Vitality. Complexity are not good enough to put those to bed. And last major, the Stockholm major, you know, they barely made it to Legends. Barely made it to Legends. That was really, really tight, and they should have definitely been top 8. Almost didn't have that expectation near the end. And at this major, the Challenger stage is maybe even a little harder. I think that, you know, them not making it to Challengers would be pretty horrible. But at the same time, based on
absolutely.
what we've seen, they're not actually of the quality right now where you could say for sure they're going to make it through. I mean, when you were doing your pick'em, looking through the teams that were gimmies, Vitality were one of those teams. And even Vitality are not right now one of the teams you could feel 100% safe on.
Well, nice showing so far. 8 rounds into this one. Dispatching of Complexity's challenge. But now we're going to see this op in the hands of Junior. First time on this T side, he will have a chance to counterpick Zywoo. I think there's also been this point of contention versus Fang. His utility, the utility that's destined for him anyways. Like that frag right there. Again, down to 52. A consistency here is Fang just getting pummeled by utility damage and then being that first easy kill swept under the rug. Vitality going to lean towards A site. 4 players here. Very nice to see Masuda being utilized so aggressively. You know, he's off to a flying start. 8-1.
Yeah,
Once more, flashed into the mid-peak. He gets himself the first kill, but Grim's able to trade that with no further damage. Still, that's a confirmation. 3 players from Complexity at the top of mid. So Magisk, high alert. Peeks out, almost gets caught by the floppy challenge, but he'll succeed and keep that 4v3 comfortably for Vitality.
Damn, game plan is looking amazing right now. As soon as they ran into the top mid and saw Masuda, they realized they lost before the round started. That first kill comes out, and they even try to continue to challenge, and then they know it's a 4A setup, but it's so late now the CTs have time to rotate over. Apex has an incendiary here at the 40-second mark, and some flash support as well.
Flash goes in.
Oh, he's not using it.
Perfect.
Okay.
Junior would have had a shot at that, but
Oh.
instead it's Apex just locking in this B hold. Grim on 50 health, his
Wow.
3rd victim, 1 magazine, 3 kills, and a solo B play from Apex, looking good.
They're playing very lean CS. It's every nade is being used adequately. Like that late nade that hit Fang this time at the bottom of steps after he tried to
After
delay
everything,
and come out.
yeah.
They are being very smart and clearly are incredibly prepared for what Complexity want to bring. This is a game that's showing us levels right now.
I'm expectant of maybe a bit more B targeting as this T side goes on. But I feel like first they've got to survive that utility early.
Yeah, that's always the catch-22. Sometimes you wait it out and then
Skynade.
all that happens, rotations come towards you. You go too soon, and it's Dunkirk. We all know how that went.
Zywoo hunts. Oh my god, goes for the super wide peak, but Junior will have him scurrying back into Arch. T-side still leaning on a smoke and a flash from Floppy.
Yeah, when we look at the mini-map, in all of these different moments, you just see the CTs perfectly well set up for the attack that is coming, whether they realize it or not. Starting to move now over towards B, thinking, wow, can we get it right 6 times in a row? Surely not. We must be wrong eventually.
Apex tuned in. A little bit of a stress point here as the silence creeps across the map. Grim and Floppy ready to posture from the apartments, and they just get shredded. Magisk and Dupree. Perfect.
Yeah, I mean. Apex got to save his voice. I mean, we got like a lot of matches.
We got a lot of games.
Yeah.
Especially if they're going to go on that run.
Got to take it slow. Well, yeah, they got to be pretty happy with themselves, at least today for this opening matchup. Couldn't be starting any better. And, you know, apart from just the fact that everyone's aim looks pretty good, it's the setups that are catching my attention the most, I think. You know, Vitality at the end of 2020 had some of the best CT setups, the most dynamic, the most varied. The most depth-filled playbook, and at a certain point, it felt like they just stopped using it for no reason. Here's a good example of where they're using it the best.
Ooh.
This is also new.
Flash with Masuda and Zaiwu ready to face Banana.
Look at this brave man.
And this is that B lean. You know, it's kind of complexity drawn to the fire.
Oh, and they just flash retook calls, didn't see anybody.
Frag comes out from Cole. Zaiwu, there's that flash. Masuda, 2. And Grim from Wood locks that one in. At least some kind of an answer, but an easy fallback. And honestly, you'll trade Masuda for 2 Ts.
Yeah, now they take over Hall's control. They actually cheat over to pick up Arch, but there is now a gap on the top of Banana because they're leaned so heavily to the bottom of the map. I think Apex is going to try to yell as loud as he can to scare the Ts away, but he really does want them to go A.
Smoke ahead of them. Difficult decision to make. And
wow, this flank is fast.
Dupree getting ever closer to the rear end of complexity, which is being watched. Floppy could just crack this one back, and then suddenly it is that A rotate fast, but that would assume Dupree goes for his peak. And right now, he's just down in the Trolls caves. He waits. Magisk, nice, clean off angle. Grim never sees that coming, and right off of that execute, here comes Dupree. It is a guillotine from the back of the attack. Junior pulled between 2 directions. The fact that Dupree doesn't extend into that next kill, he knows that Junior is right there, and he just tucks wall, lets it be.
Yeah.
And this is Vitality moving easily through the CT side.
Yeah, fluidly. It's like clockwork right now, and I mean, we had Dupree rotate into the underpass, sit in his position, top mid player peeks, doesn't see anybody to clear him. He starts slowly on that flank. Top mid guy goes over to B. Suddenly it's 3B with a full flank on B. And I hadn't even seen this off angle played before. That was a really nice one from Magisk.
They caught him boosting, Mo. They caught those Ts boosted.
Ooh, yeah. Well, on the 1 round complexity 1, they planted the bomb. That's good.
Yeah, and in the pistol. And other than those 2 rounds,
it's pretty blue.
Yeah.
It is pretty blue.
Pretty blue, pretty bleak.
Yes. Magisk has been the most interesting one for me because obviously he's still super young, insanely skilled, and there's no reason he should just fall off or anything going to a new team. But he has also been kind of inconsistent since joining Vitality, whereas Dupree didn't have as much of a struggle. 2 different people just from the same team, so it is kind of a question of, oh, why is that happening? But he's somebody that if he starts coming up, then I think we might see the team become, you know, more of the sum of their parts like we expected.
Timing here, Apex. Again, he finds the back. JT and Junior, that's all of the utility, all the support nades that were probably about to be primed over top of mid for that potential apps pop, and then you just see complexity limp back. Like, oh, we got to clear mid.
Yeah, exactly.
And with it, dude, the life of this round for complexity just drained.
Yeah, I think they're going to try to take out Elise in the halls instead.
3 players killed with their backs turned, and then poor Floppy, a victim of a blind Dupree. Fang will get his hands on the M4, but that's 4 out of 5. Attacked from the back. Vitality, they are everywhere at all times.
Hopefully they didn't have too much like coffee and didn't do too much exercise. I mean, I think the only thing you'd regret at this point is trying too hard before the match starts, right? If it goes this easily.
There we go. You know, and for all you North Americans who are waking up early to see your teams play, well, we've got Liquid after this.
Yeah, that'll be a really great game. Liquid G2. Two teams that are capable of everything and nothing as well.
That's putting it politely.
Yeah.
Well framed.
I thought I would prop up Liquid a little there. But I think it is true that both are... So we can hold Liquid to a higher standard than Cole right now, unfortunately.
Oh!
But, well...
Grim.
Oh, he just missed that.
And Fang on the chase. Oh, he gets a bunch of damage in. That's a weird Molotov. Smoke in front. Oh,
This,
bungled.
damn, they try to follow the nades and think about trying to get into the site after Fang had that opportunity. They just needed the one kill.
Yeah, yeah.
And now they invested a little bit, but they held on to the majority of their important utility, and they know that nobody sandbags, so this will save them some time.
That felt like one of the best open doors they'd seen yet.
You know what? I mean, they got Floppy at the end of halls here. Bomb is at the top of mid.
It'll hinge on killing ZywOo. Ooh, and he just missed the timing of that peak. Thinking about the apps play, this
Arch is open.
That could be huge.
Hey,
that
this is not a
timing
bad round.
Huge.
But are they going to go B? I think they should... Whoa. This might be the mistake. Well, Miss Dupree is just... Oh, they left it open just for Dupree to watch it.
Floppy tries to chase ZywOo. Another instant of a player getting away from a chase. Dupree cuts down the bomb. Now bomb confirmed in CT spawn. At the 25-second mark, it doesn't matter if you've got that A-site. Apex comes out from the side of the coffins, and it is JT and Floppy in a desperate 2v4. Quick trade frag in from Dupree, and again, bomb. It makes a world of difference. This is Complexity forfeiting 11th to Vitality CT side.
All right, there's a lot to talk about with that one. Of course, Captain Hindsight, they should have gone A and have their B players come back towards that site. That's with us seeing the full map. What was interesting for Vitality is they left Arch open for that long, and I thought it was because they had ZywOo spotting, but he only spotted one time. In reality, they called the timing smartly. They had Dupree sitting dedicated in B, watching for the spawn walkthrough. Now, normally you don't leave that gap because your A-site players need some more support, and the rotations are way too slow if someone could have gone through CT spawn. So you like to keep eyes on Arch, even if you're sitting only in Speedway. But it ends up working out so well there. I think Complexity may have psyched themselves out a little bit. Walking through spawn towards B in any situation like that where a player can be quad, they can just see you by accident, right? So it's a little hard sometimes to sneak them through. I think they try to smoke CT spawn to help them out.
Oh, this one's a little bit faster. And Magisk able to handle that early heat. Junior, that's a clean headshot at the very least, but ZywOo right there with the trade. We've got two Ts ready to walk through smoke, and Dupree will shave Grim off this. JT kind of stuck right there, wanted a kill, wanted that repeat, but it's, of course, Masuda to come with it. And Fang, through smoke, gets the better of Apex. That's something. But something won't be enough. ZywOo locks this one in. Vitality feels like they can do no wrong.
Yeah, Complexity are inside the honeycomb right now. There are bees everywhere, and they're getting stuck on all the sticky hexagons.
Ugh.
So, hope it tastes good at least.
Sweet nectar. The nectar of French CS.
Has antibacterial properties.
Really?
Honey, yeah.
Wow.
So,
hey man, save the bees.
superfood.
Flash to the top of Banana. You know, Maui Snake on the desk did prelude that JT and TC would have some aggressive rounds lined up for us. I feel like we haven't seen too many of them. That last one tried to definitely kick up the tempo. Had a kill or two, but Vitality's players, just everybody so sharp. Dupree, 15-4. Masuda, 11-4. Magis, 15-6. And those three right there. Whew. Oh, and then, of course, JT's melon gets popped through Floppy. He comes back at it, kills Fang, and it is Vitality 13-1, kicking NA while they're down.
Wow. We're not even, are we down already? Damn it. We're
Yeah, we
already
started
down,
down,
and we're getting kicked.
We started down. Ooh. Look at that. See ya.
Yeah, that's not too great.
We got to keep eyes on Magis this round. He said, guys, I want to do something. Run through. Oh, okay, Madman. And there's the support. Little Danish flair on the alt play.
do no wrong. Oh, jeez.
Flash is perfect.
Yeah, it's just
Everything,
right on
dude.
him.
This is such a well-oiled war machine on the side of Vitality. It's only Junior left. 1 versus 3 attempt, looking for Complexity's 3rd bomb plant in this half. 2 plants, 1 round, and a pumped Apex at the helm of a very strong Vitality.
Yeah, they're relaxing, they're focused, they're moisturized, they're in their lane. They know how this game is going to end. So if I'm Complexity, this is really good. Nice practice. Looks like they're still laughing. Yeah,
Still laughing.
they are funny guys.
They are.
They're very funny guys. They are very funny guys.
You know, and listen, optimism, it goes a long way.
Is next to godliness. Grim's not okay.
Not optimistic?
No, he's saying. I think he stubbed his toe or something.
I mean, it's max 6 kills on the side of Complexity.
Zaiwu hasn't died yet.
He hasn't died yet? Oh my god. 10-0. Can Zaiwu win a game of Counter-Strike without dying?
Why'd you say that? Tell me why you said that. Why'd you say
I
that?
had to.
I wouldn't say something like that.
Let's see. Let's see. As Floppy goes headhunting towards mid, Apex. Dude, how many times has Apex killed them on this flank?
God
and now
damn it.
he's the guy that's going to wait them out.
He knows this flank.
Oh, but one just, yeah. He's got players in both directions. JT's going to go down in CT spawn. Floppy pushes mid. Things are getting weird.
Okay.
And Zaiwu's still alive.
Oh, and they go back to A. Junior, it's coming to you.
Dude, it's got to be him. And he takes a higher position. He'll be exposed fully. And Masuda finds that headshot as
Rotation's here.
Magisk pirouettes through the bomb site. Masuda's going to keep this one clean.
Masuda's owning right now.
Dude, 15-1. Unless Grim and Fang can come through on this retake. Fight towards top mid gets a little awkward. Zaiwu, last man standing. How
if he
poetic.
dies, it'll be the first time he dies this match, this major.
Grim's looking for him. Can't
Oh, he
find
can't
him.
die.
11
He can't
and
die.
0. As Vitality lock in that 15th with 14 match points.
Ay, ay, ay.
Look at this pirouette. He's been getting his dancing skills from Apex.
Wow. Okay. Leave it to Zaiwu to bottom frag and steal the show. Huh? This guy.
Can just do no wrong.
Yeah.
All right, Complexity. Definitely the caged animals in this situation. And the Apps play, albeit aggressive, to their detriment. They go down by 2. 4 versus 3 to close the show with a very lopsided opener here at the Major. And I would say, you know, a real exclamation point at the end of this victory for Vitality just means, you know, give us a better contender. If they're gonna chop down the teams like Complexity this easily, then I want to see that 2-0 best of 3. Today is the day to get that locked in.
Yeah.
You know, if you just got to play this well today, and then 3 chances. But alas, get this bomb in. There's still the prying eyes of Junior. Smoke denies that vision. Plant is done. JT walking around these corners. We met by Magisk's Galil. And as much as it hurts to say, NA, this one's all she wrote.
I'm getting ready to go back into my spot for the end of this. Yeah, we'll give it our best go of it here. Okay,
Done.
he goes down. Zaiwu has not died at the Major. And we played a whole damn match already.
You don't die, man.
17 rounds.
That's crazy.
Man, what the hell was that?
That's a feels good Vitality. And you know what? Nice to see them pumped as well, right?
Yeah.
Because as many questions as we may still have around this project, there's no doubt that they swirl